You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension.
4 years ago, I know that many Americans felt a fresh excitement about the possibilities of a new president. That choice was not the choice of our party, but Americans always come together after elections. We're a good and generous people, and we're united by so much more than what divides us. When that election was over, when the yard signs came down and the television commercials finally came off the air, Americans were eager to go back to work, to live our lives the way Americans always have, optimistic and positive and confident in the future. That very optimism is uniquely American. It's what brought us to America. We're a nation of immigrants. We're the children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren of the ones who wanted a better life, the driven ones, the ones who woke up at night hearing that voice telling them that life in the place called America could be better. They came not just in pursuit of the riches of this world, but for the richness of this life. Freedom.
Where's the beef?
The question is, if I were elected and Congress were to pass the DREAM Act, would I veto it? And the answer is yes.
I anticipate before the November election we'll be laying out a whole series of policies that relate to immigration. I've spoken about the need to have a visa system that's right-sized for the needs of our employment community. And so how we adjust our visa program to make it fit the needs of our country is something I'll be speaking about down the road. But I don't have anything for you on that at this stage. See a model here in Arizona. They passed a law here that says that people who come here and try and find work, that the employer is required to look them up on E-Verify.
So if you don't deport them, how do you send them home?
Well, the answer is self-deportation, which is people decide that they can do better by going home because they can't find work here because they don't have legal documentation to allow them to work here. And so we're not going to round people up. The way that we have in this society is to say, look, people who've come here illegally would, under my plan, be given a transition period and the opportunity during that transition period to work here. But when that transition period was over, they would no longer have the documentation to allow them to work in this country. At that point, they can decide whether to remain or whether to return home and to apply for legal residency in the United States, get in line with everybody else. And I know people think, but that's not fair to those that have come here illegally.
Isn't that what we have now? If somebody doesn't feel they have the opportunity in America, they can go back anytime they want to.
Yes, we'd have a card that indicates who's here legally. And if people are not able to have a card and have that through an E-Verify system determine that they are here illegally, then they're going to find they can't get work here. And if people don't get work here, they're going to self-deport to a place where they can get work. Ultimately, with this transition period in place, we would then allow people to get in line at home and to come back to this country after they've reached the front of the line.
I don't think there's anybody back there.
You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension.